The world is watching. The stakes have never been higher. As India and the United States move closer to a potential trade deal, one thing is clear. This is not just about economics. This is about power, influence, and the future of the global order. This deal has the power to shift global markets overnight. Imagine two of the world's largest democracies joining hands to rewrite the rules of trade. For decades, the balance of economic influence has tilted toward a few dominant players, but with India and the United States coming together, the ground beneath global markets begins to shake. Investors from Wall Street to Singapore are already watching closely, sensing that a single announcement could set off waves across currencies, stocks, and commodities. When two economies with such massive scale and diverse strengths align, they don't just create agreements, they create momentum that the rest of the world cannot ignore. India brings to the table its fast-growing consumer base, an expanding manufacturing sector, and a technology-driven workforce that is redefining innovation. The United States contributes its financial power, global reach, and unmatched influence in setting international standards. Together, they can design a framework that redefines supply chains, lowers trade barriers, and accelerates global growth in ways no other partnership can. This is not simply about tariffs and imports. It's about shaping the architecture of tomorrow's economy. Think of the signal it sends to the rest of the world. That cooperation between East and West is not only possible but powerful. Such a deal has the potential to shift dependencies, reduce reliance on unstable regions, and foster resilience in the global system. It could mark the start of a new era where emerging powers and established giants move forward, not as competitors, but as partners in progress. That possibility alone fuels optimism and raises the stakes, because if this deal succeeds, it will not just change the markets, it will change the very direction of the global economy. For businesses, for entrepreneurs, for innovators, this could open doors once thought locked forever. Trade agreements are not just lines on paper, they are bridges connecting talent, technology, and opportunity. If India and the United States move forward with a comprehensive deal, the ripple effects will reach far beyond government chambers. It will mean easier access to markets, reduced barriers for goods and services, and smoother pathways for investment and collaboration. A manufacturer in Detroit could find new supply partners in Gujarat at a lower cost and with greater efficiency. This is how opportunities multiply. The scope is vast. Technology, agriculture, energy, defense, and services all stand to benefit. In technology, India's thriving innovation sector could join forces with America's cutting-edge research and global networks to create products and services that transform lives. In agriculture, farmers could gain better access to machinery, markets, and expertise, increasing productivity and reducing waste. In renewable energy and sustainability, the two nations could combine resources to push cleaner, greener solutions into mainstream markets faster than ever before. Every industry touched by this agreement would see new horizons open, but the real impact lies in what it means for ordinary dreamers. The entrepreneur building something from scratch, the student working on the next big idea, the worker seeking better opportunities. A successful deal would give them a bigger stage to showcase their talent and a wider door to walk through toward growth. Opportunity fuels ambition, and ambition fuels progress. That is why this deal is not only about economics, it is about unleashing human potential on both sides of the world. Trade is not only about goods and money, it is about trust and partnership. When two nations as powerful and influential as India and the United States move closer to alignment, the world sees more than just an exchange of products. It sees the rise of a strategic alliance. Such a partnership signals strength, stability, and shared vision. It sends a clear message that both countries are willing to put aside differences to build something bigger than themselves. In an age where global uncertainties are rising, from conflicts to economic slowdowns, trust between nations becomes a priceless currency. This deal has the potential to transform India-US ties from transactional to transformational. It is not just about securing cheaper imports or boosting exports. It is about weaving together the future of two democracies that thrive on innovation, resilience, and a trade partnership at this level naturally expands into other areas: defense cooperation, energy security, climate solutions, and technological leadership. It becomes the foundation for addressing global challenges that no single nation can solve alone. The symbolism of such unity is just as important as the practical benefits. Together, India and the US would show the world that collaboration is still stronger than conflict, and that partnership can create pathways where competition alone cannot. For smaller nations watching, it would set an example of how alliances can lead to empowerment, not dependency. For global rivals, it would serve as a reminder that democracies, when united, can stand firm against uncertainty and pressure. This is why the stakes feel so high, because what begins as a trade deal could evolve into a new model of international cooperation. A model that proves strength is not only measured by what a country gains, but by what two nations can build together. This is not a deal confined to boardrooms and government offices. Its true meaning will be felt in the lives of ordinary people. A farmer in Punjab may suddenly gain access to better technology, advanced equipment, and bigger markets abroad, raising his income and improving his family's future. A small business owner in Texas could find new customers in India's rapidly growing middle class, expanding her reach without being held back by tariffs or restrictions. A student in Bangalore might see more scholarships, internships, and opportunities to collaborate with American institutions, while an investor in New York could discover a safer, faster route to tap into India's booming economy. These are not abstract benefits. They are tangible changes that touch daily lives. Trade deals at their core are about choices and chances. Cheaper goods at the supermarket, new job opportunities in emerging industries, better access to technology, and even improved healthcare. All can stem from an agreement that bridges economies. For families, it means affordability. For workers, it means security. For young dreamers, it means more doors opening to the world. This is how the global economy becomes personal. Beyond economics, it builds a sense of connection. When two nations trade, they also share ideas, culture, and innovation. A teacher in Chicago may use educational tools developed in India, while an Indian patient may benefit from advanced American medical research. These exchanges bring people closer, fostering understanding and respect. That is why this deal matters. It is not just about billions in trade value. It is about millions of lives finding new hope, growth, and possibilities. The real victory of such an agreement lies not in numbers, but in the upliftment of everyday people who feel its impact directly in their homes, workplaces, and communities. When giants move, the world feels the tremor. A trade deal between India and the United States would not remain limited to these two nations. It would reverberate across continents, forcing governments, corporations, and entire economies to rethink their strategies. The global trading system is like a vast web, and when its two strongest threads tighten their bond, the ripple travels to every corner. Countries in Asia, Europe, and Africa would immediately reassess their alliances, eager not to be left behind in the wake of a powerful new partnership. For allies, it could open the door to expanded opportunities. Nations tied to either India or the US would benefit from stronger supply chains, faster innovation, and greater access to markets. For competitors, however, it would create pressure to respond. China, for example, would see its trade dominance challenged in regions it once considered secure. Europe might accelerate its own deals, while developing nations could align themselves strategically to gain from the shifting balance of power. The world would no longer operate under the same economic assumptions. Everything would be reshaped. This ripple effect is not just about numbers on a global chart. It influences politics, security, and even culture. Stronger India-US ties would empower democratic values in a time when global uncertainties often test them. It would bring stability to regions that thrive on predictability, giving businesses and communities confidence in a more resilient system. Most importantly, it sets a precedent. If two nations with different histories, challenges, and perspectives can come together and forge a comprehensive deal, it sends a powerful message. Cooperation is still the most powerful tool humanity has. The ripple begins with trade, but it ends with transformation, reshaping the global order for years to come. The stakes are rising. The question is not whether the world will change, it's how prepared we are to rise with it.